This is Ganesh. Today I will be explaining you the circular flow in a two-sector economy. Before going to circular flow in a two-sector economy, we need to understand certain things. First thing is, what is a two-sector economy? So two-sector economy is a simplest form of economy in which there exist only two sectors. One is your households and the other is the firms. So what are these households? We all come under households. We are the owners of various factors of production and we provide these factor services to the various firms in the production of goods and services. So we are the owners of various factors of production. The goods and services are produced by the firms and they are consumed by the people to satisfy their wants. So households are the owners of various factors like land, labor, capital, etc. And these factor services are provided to the firms and the firms will pay the factor payments to the households. When we come to the firms, firms are the producers, firms are the industries which produce goods and services. And how they are producing these goods and services? With the help of the factor services provided by the individuals, by the households. So firms are utilizing the factor services and they are producing goods and services with the help of the inputs, and these goods and services are provided to the households again. Now the firms will sell the goods and services and the households will buy and use these goods and services to satisfy their wants. So these are the two sectors in the two-sector economy. One is your households, other is the firms. Here is the diagram of a two-sector economy. To the left side of the screen you can see the households is there. On the right side of the screen you can see the firms is there. Again you can see there is two loops, that is two sets of arrows are there. One set of arrow is marked black, another set of arrows is marked in red color. So these arrows are representing, you see the bottom black arrow, households is providing factors of production, that is factor services, land, labor, capital, all these things to the firms. So that I think you understood very clearly, households is providing factors of production to the firms. In continuation to that, what the firms is doing, firms is using these factor services to produce goods and services and they are supplying to the households. You can see at the top the black arrow. In the inside you can see another set of arrows colored in red. Here you see the arrow coming from the firms to the household. Here the firms are making factor payments to the household in the form of rent, wages, dividend, interest, etc. So here payments are made by the firms to the households. Now in continuation to that, households, what they are doing, they are spending that money in the form of consumption expenditure and paying that money back to the firms in the form of consumption expenditure by buying the goods and services produced by the firms. So here there are two loops. One loop is the outer loop, the inside loop is the inner loop. So this is the diagrammatic representation of your two-sector economy. Now let us analyze the two-sector economy. So the assumptions here in a two-sector economy are, first thing is there are only two sectors. We can see there are only two sectors here. One is your household, other is firms. Because you see there is three-sector economy, there is four-sector economy, there is two-sector economy with financial market. So many things are there. So here in two-sector economy we will find only two sectors. One is your household, other is firms. The second assumption is that households provide factor services to the firms. You know what are factor services? Land, labor, capital, other things. These are provided by the households to the firms. The third assumption is firms produce goods and services. The factor services what are provided by the households is utilized by the firms to produce goods and services. The fourth assumption, the firms sell their entire output to the households. Entire output means complete output. Whatever is produced by the firms, that complete production is sold to the consumers, to the households. The next assumption is households receive factor incomes from the firms. So the firms are making factor payments to the households. So households are receiving factor incomes from the firms. That is rent, wages, interest, all these things what they receive, what the households receive from the firms is called factor incomes. The next assumption is households spend their complete income on consumption of goods and services. Here, households, whatever factor incomes they receive, that complete income is spent on purchase of goods and services in the form of consumption expenditure. So here there is no savings. Whatever money the households earn, that complete money is spent in the form of consumption expenditure for purchase of goods and services. The last assumption is there is no savings in the economy. That is what I told. There is no savings. Whatever the households earn, that complete money is spent on purchase of goods and services in the form of consumption expenditure. So this is the analysis of your two-sector economy. Now let us see what is real flow and money flow. So real flow is the outer loop in the diagram. While explaining the diagram to you, I told you there are two loops. One is your outer loop, other is inner loop. Outer loop is colored in black and that is the outer loop. It includes factor services provided by the households to the firms and the goods and services provided by the firms to the households. Here, very important thing what we should notice is this does not include money anywhere. There is no involvement of cash or flow of money from one sector to another sector. Here, both the sectors are providing something other than money. Here, household is providing factor services to the firms. Firms is providing goods and services to the households. Now, let us come to the money flow. Money flow is the inner loop in the diagram, that is the red colored arrows what we have seen. It includes the factor payments made by the firms to the households, that is rent, wages, etc., what are paid by the firms to the households, and the consumption expenditure what is made by the households for the purchase of goods and services. So whatever factor incomes the households receive, they will spend that money for the purchase of goods and services, and that money is again going back to the firms. Now here in both the parts, both the transactions, we will see money is involved, and that is why this loop is called money flow. It is completely involving money. So this is money flow. So we can see the money is flowing from the firms to the households. Again, that is going back from the households to the firms. So this is called circular flow of money or circular flow in a two-sector economy. There are two sectors and the money is flowing between firms and the households and the firms.